Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, the author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Word of Recall. All right, if my understanding of the spell is correct, this is a 6th level cleric spell, and it acts as kind of like a save point in a video game.
Yep, this is your World of Warcraft Hearthstone. This is your fast travel in Skyrim. This is the basic. This is a thing I marked, and I want to go back to that thing that I marked. And I want to do it instantly. I don't have to think too much about it. That's what Word of Recall is.
So it's you and up to 5 of your companions. Is that right?
Yep. So if you're in a 7-person party, sorry, this doesn't work. You're just leaving someone behind, I guess.
Also, the spell description says another couple of instances where the spell doesn't work, which is interesting because most spell descriptions I've seen, I can't remember another one where it says like, this won't work if you don't do the right things. You just kind of take that for granted. If you cast magic missile on a table, it's not going to work. I don't need to be told that, but
yeah. I actually think it's a really odd choice too. This is a 6th level spell. I'm not that convinced. Like, it's cleric only, so this is kind of like how clerics teleportation. I'm not really convinced this couldn't just be anywhere. Like, I don't really get why it has to be designated to your deity.
Yeah, they really drove that home though.
Yeah, but it also, like, it is technically open enough that you can be like, I am following Poseidon, god of the sea, and the sea is very much his domain, and I shall make this pool of water within the sea our Word of Recall, and your DM can be like, oh yeah, that's totally strongly associated with Poseidon. That absolutely works.
Sounds open to interpretation.
Agreed. And that's where I think, like, I don't know why the text needed to be here if they're going to leave it open to interpretation like that, right? If you're, again, this is the kind of question of, it comes back around to the commune problem, right? Where it's like, I worship the god of the sun. Is everything under the sun in their knowledge? Can they answer any questions about things that are lit? Some DMs are going to say yes, other DMs are going to say no. And this is going to have that same kind of effect, which I guess is like a release valve of being like, oh, this is too powerful, but it's not. This isn't powerful, honestly.
Well, I mean, you say that, but when you're getting the snot kicked out of you, and which is, I mean, that's when you need this, right? Are there any like other instances where you cast this? I mean, if you get bored and I just want to go home.
The nice thing about it, right, is this hypothetically has kind of dual uses. The one use case, like you just suggested, is you're going around a relatively small area, so a place that you can travel within a couple days probably, and you use it whenever shit hits the fan and the party's getting their ass beat and you're like, oh god, everyone's going to die. Mass recall. Unfortunately, or Word of Recall, this has the problem where unconscious creatures cannot be willing, so you can't bring people that are down in Word of Recall. You have to get them up first before you can Word of Recall them out, which greatly reduces that kind of utility. Like, this is something you have to fire if you suspect people are going to go down.
Oh yeah. And
this is a 6th level spell, so like you could be casting like Sunbeam or something, and that may not mean everyone's going down anymore. You could be or maybe not Sunbeam, it's a light only, but like another 6th level cleric spell. You could be conjuring Celestial for a 7th level spell or something, right? Like, there are other things that will turn the tide of a fight. Like a mass healing word might just be enough to turn the tide of a fight that you wouldn't need this there.
I don't know, a mass healing word sounds like what you need before you use this, because I didn't realize everybody had to be willing. That's yep. That kind of cripples the spell for me.
Yeah, because, that's why I'm like,
by the time really you need it, then it's unusable.
Yeah, and like if you can't actually do this at the same turn you mass healing word, right? So
because they not in the same turn, but yeah.
So you'd have to like mass healing word, hope everyone stays up, then Word of Recall. And if people are going down, I have a hunch that that's not going to be a real solution. Whereas you can do just like casting a 6th level spell to kill the things that are killing you. That seems better. Or like banish the things that are killing you, or stun the things that are killing you, or blind the things that are killing you. So at least you have like a chance to scurry out and flee. That seems like a more real use case of a 6th level spell, which then puts this as, if it's not going to be for getting out of jail free, if this isn't going to be a way to avoid certain death, which again, I still think there will be some windows where you're like, oh crap, the barbarian's at 5 and our rogue just got hit for like 40 damage and can't take another hit. Okay, this is a bad idea. Word of Recall, we're out. it's still, oh, and on top of that, everything has to be within 5 feet of you. So you have to be in the situation where everyone's clumped together. So like if you tanked a fire breath, for example, if a breath weapon hit you all and you're like, oh god, that was horrific, we're all gonna die, word of recall. So yeah, okay, yes. The getting out of jail free is very, very unlikely to matter. That then leaves in the situation where this is a fast travel option. And D&D doesn't need fast travel because the game inherently is built with fast travel called 3 months later narrative duration, right? Like this isn't, unless you're playing in the table where like the adventures, like the journey there is a big part of the adventure, which is some games. The journey back is often way less interesting and less of an adventure. When you kill everything on the way, you don't really need to kill everything on the way back for the most part, and that's often going to be kind of skipped over, and that's kind of what the spell's supposed to do anyway. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it has much of a place in any D&D table, especially the ones that you like, especially in the ones where you would want this to be a fast travel tool, just because, again, this is an RPG where it's theater of the mind for the majority of the time. This is going to be fast travel anyway, so I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like you set this up at a temple or something, and then you want to go explore into the woods, and then but you didn't bring enough provisions. I don't know. Yeah.
That if you're at a point in the you're playing D&D and you're casting 6th level spells and you're worried about provisions, that's not a table for me, dog. I'm gonna go anywhere else. That's not it.
Also, I mean, yeah, there are plenty of lower level spells that provide provisions.
Yeah, and like circle of teleportation also is going to be something that's just better than this, right? Let's go to other places that have circles of teleportation. And sure, it's like a weird DM world building burden, and we'll talk about that at some point when we talk about circle of teleportation. But like, this is a worse version of that. Like, if you have 2 clerics in the party, one of them sits at one location and one of them sits at the other, then you can kind of teleport between 2 spots. Is that good? No. Like, there's better ways to do that. I don't know. Yeah, I want to like this spell. I think it's hypothetically a negative effect. I think if you didn't have to have willing creatures, if there were words and ways in the game to just simply designate party members, and there definitely could be, we definitely could have had spells that say you and a number of party members within an area can do these things, like player characters even. Then we could be talking about a spell that has that utility and would be a decent effect of being like, oh crap, 3 people are unconscious, we need to leave. That would be great. This isn't that. If we had a spell that was more consistently, I want to be able to go back and forth, like go back to town, get some provisions, and go back. Then we have a long distance sort of resetting, long rest safety net kind of spell that would function similar to teleport for wizards that Claire could have. That would be thematically fitting, that'd be useful. This isn't that either. And it just leaves it to the spot where I can't conceivably put this on a character sheet, right? Like, can you?
No. Do you know if this spell was in previous editions?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
it sounds like it was.
Because it feels like a video game thing they tried to shoehorn in, and they did it clumsily.
I normally think whenever I see like dedicated or to strongly linked to a deity, that to me very feels like if it's a good aligned location is what that translates to. So that has me thinking it probably was from older editions, but you might be right. This might be something where there were like Compel Duel trying to bring video game like ideas into 5th edition and just not really working.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because I think this effect could have worked. I think there are a few different ways you could save this effect to make it nifty. But like, honestly, at what spell level would you even say like, oh yeah, this becomes a good spell? Is this a good 3rd level spell?
I don't know, because I mean it's completely destroyed for me by that whole, because I primarily think of this spell as something you need when everything's gone to shit and you need to get out of there. But maybe just switching the willing creatures thing could.
Well, then they still be within range of you. You have to have everyone willing within 5 feet of you, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be in fireball formation, which we've talked about effects that aren't good because you put yourself in fireball formation, right? Like,
yeah, 5 feet. That's insane.
Yeah, it's like arm span.
Oh, I know. Like everybody's hugging each other.
Yeah, and like at that point, you're kind of asking just to get killed by the dragon. So, yeah, this is a 1. This spell is, I think, uncastable. I think I wrote more positively about it, and just having our little conversation here, I think, really enlightened me to be like, yeah, no, this is actually unusable.
Yeah, it's nothing I hate. Like, it doesn't make me angry or anything. Maybe it should, but I can't justify giving it higher than a 1.
Yeah, I kind of like, normally I'm pretty passionate about spells that are actively bad.
Yeah.
Nah, this just is bad, and it doesn't. I guess it fits the nice convenience of if you if you're in the one specific table playing Tomb of Annihilation, getting to high levels in the Tomb of Annihilation, and for some reason, like, because most games are ending when you're getting 6th level spells. If you need to find a way back after beating the big bad of a big adventure, I don't know, that seems anticlimactic to me, right? Like, if you go out and fought at the Lich and you got into the dungeon, you successfully did the thing in a big climactic set piece encounter, and then you're like, okay, great. Now we have to figure out how to get home. Like, that's probably not happening.
Maybe
right?
it's an NPC has it, and it's a DM tool to
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a scroll that got handed at the beginning of the quest because the DM was like, you don't have to prepare this, but I also don't want to have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still, that's not a redeeming quality. This is garbage.
No. All right. Well, there you go. That was what was this?
Word of Recall.
Word of Recall. All right. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for listening and watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.